I always try to preface things here. I never want to give parenting advice. I am a single man with no kids. So who do I, or who am I to try to tell somebody how to raise their parents? But, I do try to come at this from a level of awareness and education, realizing, especially today, you talked about this was, 15 plus years ago and the technology was still an issue, so with today, I try to tell as many parents that are willing to listen to me, like, you have to get in front of this thing, with kids getting iPhones and smartphones and tablets nowadays from 5, 6, 7 years old. It's just going to be a matter of time before their eyes see something that their brain is not yet developed to handle.
Yeah.
So for you, what was that kind of first response reaction like? What did you feel? What were you thinking internally? I can't imagine it was like, I need to go home and talk to my parents about this. And then, so that's question one is like, what were you experiencing going through kind of internally? And second question, like, how do you speak to kind of parents today? Any tips, advice? We have a lot of dads listening, a lot of, a handful of moms, we have somewhat of a female audience, but mostly men out there. Like, how do you speak to men, not about their own issues, but, in getting in front of it with their kids?
Yeah. So for me, like when I got exposed to it, it was completely innocent. Like I still remember my buddy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, he was a really good soccer player. He's like, "Hey, one of my team members told me to look up this website. It was whitehouse.com. Somebody owned whitehouse.com at that time and had converted it into a porn site. So whitehouse.com, and I just remember the shock of it. And I didn't even really understand what I was looking at, but he knew what it was right away. And it was like hands on the screen, like trying to cover it up. Like we were in a computer lab. We were kind of in a public place. Um, it wasn't. I didn't even really go home and think like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I need to see it again. I was honestly just confused by what I saw. But of course, like I was about 11 years old, so you're developing, your hormones start to increase, and in those development phases, I remember just wondering what that thing was and why it kind of like evoked that feeling in me. So eventually, it was probably a couple months later that I actually went back and looked for it again, and then it just gradually became a more frequent thing. So it was a lot of confusion initially, and then sort of a development into looking at it more regularly once I kind of understood what it was. Um, for parents, I think there's always two sides of this. The one side is some parents listening to this have kids who have already been exposed, and some parents have kids who are probably too young and maybe just want to be a little bit more preventative. So I'm going to try to speak to both. The preventative side, the biggest thing you can do is start the conversations early. You don't have to divulge everything, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to forge a path so that when your child encounters these things, the path is already there and it's convenient for them to have the conversations with you. Because if they don't have the conversations with you, if that path isn't there, they will go to another path of less resistance. That is just the reality. So the safer that you are as a parent, the better chance you have of actually having a voice in your kid's life as they develop sexually. And I think that's probably the best preventative measure you can have. Um, on the other side of it, if you have a kid who's already struggling, it's actually not that different. You want to have those conversations, and then you want to try to I forget who it was that said, but kids generally because they're less developed, they're hyper concentrated on pain and reward. And if you can attach some of their behavior to either of those things, it can really go a long way for them to at least get a bit of a perspective on what are the implications of what they're doing now for later on in the future. Because the reality is, like, the ramifications when you're 16 and watching porn, there are ramifications. It's not like there's no harm, no foul kind of thing, but they're minimal compared to when you go further in life. You want serious relationships. Maybe you start to develop that relationship with God a bit more seriously. And of course, I mean, that's still at play when you're a teen. But I think casting some of that vision for long term, if that's something they're conscious of, or maybe tying it into some more immediate things. But I think the more attached it can be with reward and pain, the better it is. And again, you just want to broach the subject, have those conversations as best as you possibly can.
Yeah, I love that. Like, it starts with your relationship with the kids. It's like you have to have these important conversations, even if it's not addressing the issue of pornography right out of the gate. It's understanding that when they're not, like, you have enough of a strong enough relationship with them. You're not the dictator in the house, but you have to build that relationship, for lack of a better word here, with them,
Yep.
that when they are in an uncomfortable situation, that they run to you as opposed to maybe going to talk to their friend about it, or they're like, hey, I think I saw something that I wasn't supposed to see today. Like, can we talk about this? Where if you never really address anything, sensitive with them, or anything of a kind of a pressing issue, they're going to be like, see this, and like, I can't trust my parents because they're going to guilt me or shame me. Why did you look at that? Or what are you
Yes.
thinking? So yeah, it starts with trust, and just building that relationship.